Welcome to Carmela's Daughter's YouTube channel. It is Dub. Whoop, whoop. And we are here at day plus 12. I know it's late. My bad. It's been a long day and I just got around to it. So, welcome. Please thumbs up the video, subscribe, join the group on Facebook, Carmela's Daughter, like the page, Carmela's Daughter, on Twitter and Instagram as Carmela Daughter. So join us. All right, so nothing major happened with me today. Day plus 12 has been uneventful, nothing really to talk about. I had my last dose of methotrexate yesterday, which is to help minimize the graft versus host disease. Today I've mostly been asleep, resting, doing what my body told me to do. So not much to report on day 12 for me. So what I wanted to do is to talk to my aplastic anemia warriors and my PNH warriors about getting second opinions and deciding on where to get your bone marrow transplant done. I've been here at my center for 7 years. When I was initially diagnosed, I was at another hospital, and I just wasn't feeling the care there. So I remember calling my boss. His wife was a retired nurse from MD Anderson, and I remember calling her and asking her to work her miracles with our insurance because I couldn't stay where I was. And so they transferred me to where I am right now, and I have been under the care of my hematologist oncologist for 7 years. So, but I did not take the decision of where to get my bone marrow transplant lightly. I shopped around. That's what I call it. I shopped around. So I wanted to talk about that. So the first thing that I did was find the best centers in the country that deal with aplastic anemia and PNH, because some people have aplastic anemia, some people have PNH. It's the combination of the two makes it even more rare or rarer, whatever. So I wanted to deal with a center that could deal with both my aplastic anemia and my PNH, especially because at the time my aplastic anemia was sort of under control, meaning that I wasn't totally dependent upon platelets and blood at the time, but my PNH was getting out of control, and I was on this medication called Solaris, and I didn't feel like it was working for me, and I felt like it was time to go ahead and do the next step of treatment. And my doctors still were like, oh, well, let's just see how Solaris works. Well, of course, because they see me upbeat, lively, or whatever, going on trips, getting married, having babies, to them, my quality of life was okay. But I knew what I felt like on the inside, and I knew that the treatments that we were working on at the time were not working. So I began working on a way to start checking out second opinions. So one of the first organizations that I would tell you aplastic anemia and PNH warriors to go to would be bonemarrow.org, bonemarrow.org. And they help with getting you to and from the center to get evaluated for a second opinion. So on my list was Johns Hopkins Hospital, and they had specialized in a certain type of mini transplant that would make the conditioning period, the chemo cycle, and the radiation cycle less intense. Okay, and they were not going to look for additional donors. They were going to just go with my sister and deal with all the other complications, because they had developed a technique to do that. So I went to bonemarrow.org and I asked them for help. They gave me a plane ticket for me plus one to go. They provided us with a allowance each day for travel and food. We rented a car. So we went to Baltimore, I believe in January. Yeah, it was in January because we were there for my baby's birthday. And The facilities were amazing. The doctors had some really good information, but you just have to consider picking up and moving your entire life to Baltimore is what I had to consider. Picking up your entire life and moving to Baltimore, because you have to, not only do you have to get the transplant, but then you also have to stay there. I have to stay close here, anywhere. You have to stay close to your center for 100 days, outpatient, and you go to the doctor every other day. So it's not like I could have got the marrow transplant and just come back home. I would have had to get the bone marrow transplant, stay there for 100 days, and then stay there for another 6 months to a year at close to the transplant center in order for my insurance to approve me to move back home. So, it was great information. They gave me a lot of things to look up and educate myself on, and I was very pleased with the facility, and I seriously was considering going to Johns Hopkins for the transplant. Another organization that helped me is BeTheMatch.org. That's BeMatch.org. And they helped me with linking up with centers all over the country that could help with bone marrow transplants, and getting the referrals, doing the insurance part of it, so that I didn't have to worry with talking to insurance and all of that to get approved, which was a lot of help. So those two organizations, if you have aplastic anemia or PNH, I would strongly advise you to look into those two organizations, because they have a lot of resources out there for us with this disease. BoneMarrow.org also offers scholarships and grants. The Lifeline Fund is a one-time grant that they give you based on your financial need. They also have scholarships if you want to go back to school, or if you want to further yourself in education. They have scholarships for that. Or if you have children who are affected by your disease, they have scholarships for that at BoneMarrow.org. BeTheMatch.org is who helps me put together the bone marrow drives, and they do a lot of educational videos and everything like that for people with aplastic anemia and PNH, or PNH. Let me say it like that. Okay. Also, BeTheMatch.org put me in touch with a mentor, and it was basically someone who had gone through a transplant, and we talked once every couple of days for like 6 to 7 weeks, and based on my my schedule and her schedule. And oh man, it was the knowledge that she had as a patient is what prompted me to say I was going to make videos every day, because it's a wealth of knowledge that you have, but once you're so many months or years removed, it's kind of hard to remember what to tell people. But we would just sit up and talk about how it affected our marriage, how it affected our children, how it affected our family dynamic and work, and all of those things. Because it was a huge decision to make, to go to a bone marrow transplant. Bone marrow transplant is not just something like, oh, I think I'm gonna get a transplant tomorrow. No, this is a life-changing procedure, and so I didn't want to do it lightly. And I'm a researcher by nature. I'm an analyst, so I wanted to get all the information I could get. So I would strongly encourage anyone with aplastic anemia or PNH, if you're going to go through the bone marrow transplant process, to find you a mentor that is similar to your age, that is your family size, etc., that can help, that you can just talk to. Because there was a lot of things that she didn't know about medically, but emotionally she spot on. So one of the things, the best advice that she told me to do is to take a picture of myself every day, from the day I checked into the hospital for transplant until the last day, and to the 100th day, not the last day. So from day -6 to day 100, just to see how much your body transforms and to see how far you've come. Because when you're in the trenches day by day, it feels like nothing is changing. But when you go back over and you look at those pictures and you see how, different you look from day to day to day, it kind of puts you in perspective. And that's what's been helping me over the last couple of days, because I know I get self-conscious about how puffy my face is. My face is swollen, my throat hurts, I just feel self-conscious about a lot of things. My hair has fallen out, and she prepared me for all of that as far as how to deal with it emotionally and not to, act like nothing was wrong or whatever. So I would greatly suggest that highly to get your mentor and to join or to get link up with those two organizations, bonemarrow.org and BeTheMatch.org. As for me, I am on complete and total bed arrest. I've been locked up. They won't let me. Oh, sorry. I'm on bed rest, so that's because my left leg is completely swollen. It's ugly, and it has been that way since Saturday. And I kept telling everybody, but the doctors, it was what they expected to happen based on what my leg had started to do. So they knew what was going on. I just didn't expect it to be as bad as it was, but it is as bad as it was. Because last night I tried to get up to go to the bathroom, and I almost fell, and I pulled the little. I couldn't get to the little lever, so I just started yelling, "I'm falling! I'm falling!" And the nurses came in. I'm so dramatic. My best friend Aisha was up. So you'll know I'm doing better when I'm up out this bed, because I am sick of this bed. I've been in it for 2 days and I'm ready to go. I think that's all I have for you guys today. Like I said, showing up for the battle is just half the battle, is just showing up. Pushing through despite there are days where they're harder than others. Like today was an all smoothie day, which smoothies are grand, but would you want smoothies all day? No, I didn't think so. So yeah, it's just every day is a different day, and every day is a new challenge, and every day we have to just keep pushing. And that's for people who are going through a bone marrow transplant, and that's also for people who not. Every day, just show up, and then the rest of you'll get to the rest. So I hope that was helpful to my plastic anemia and PNH warriors. And I just wanted to say I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And take care. I love you. Bye.